She doesn't even go here.
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Homo, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Not So Straight Nerds. I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And today we have another dual conversation. Today we are discussing reminders of hoppers.
Right.
So,
mainly hoppers.
Probably an emphasis on hoppers, but there's some conversations to be had on reminders of him. Both are recent releases. Reminders of Him came out, I think, is the biggest release this weekend. And then Hoppers was last weekend's big release. Yeah. That we saw second to The Bride. So we're maybe coming in a little late to this conversation, but I'm still super excited to have it.
Yes.
Before we get started into these big conversations,
Vibe check.
Oh my gosh, how are the vibes?
They're great. The Oscars are today.
Oh my
Woo!
gosh.
By the time this is out, we will know who won everything. So that's also, we changed our posters finally. We've been a little lagging on that. I thought about that this morning. I was like, we need to change this. Kind of an ode to the Oscars, because we have A Complete Unknown, which Timothée Chalamet may win the Oscar tonight. I guess we'll see. Or Michael B. Jordan.
You'll know before we do.
Yeah. And then Barbie, of course, which was great. And then Anora, which was last year's big sweep, I would say.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Very excited. I think this Oscars overall is going to go really well. I think just like any year, you're going to have a couple categories where there's, someone who won that you didn't want to win.
I'm very interested to see what the upsets are. It feels like things are so kind of set in. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels like...
It does.
Like, I can think of maybe one category where, like, I might not love who gets it. Mm-hmm. But I'm very excited. I feel like this is going to be a very...
Yeah, I agree.
Very exciting one.
I think, it's one of those scenarios where even Best Actor, where it may not be quite as solid as it was before the SAG Awards, and then Best Actress I'm thinking of, I think, the people that are in the running, even if it's not a clear winner, I would be excited for.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those, like,
great
I'm
nominees, I
everybody.
think, pretty across the board, with like one or two exceptions that come to mind. But
yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna say this has been a great year for film, and I can't wait to kind of wrap up this conversation celebrating that. Yeah,
we'll make a video on that as well soon, so you'll get to know our thoughts very soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, in my vibes, also vibin'. Indeed.
Yeah.
We're like officially kind of caught up on TV stuff.
Yeah, we just finished One Piece Season 2, which hopefully we'll get to talking about that as well sometime in the near future. We caught up on Paradise. That's still going well. The Pit. This last episode was very frustrating, but very well done. It was not, lack of quality, just more so frustrated with where the characters are at. What else? Abbott Elementary's been fun. I'm so missing one.
I also can't remember it off the top of my head, but TV's been a vibe so far this year.
Oh no, I'm not missing one. Anyways,
especially the weekly ones.
Yeah,
gotta love weekly television.
Absolutely. So, anyways, now we have to. Now we're here with the newest Pixar release.
Yes,
original Pixar release.
I am gonna go ahead and throw this up there that we are having a spoiler conversation on these two films. Yes. So, if you have not seen it, be warned, we will be breaking it down and getting into the juicy details. So, you have been warned. But Hoppers! Oh my gosh, Hoppers.
If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? I feel like it might just be my algorithm, but I feel like everyone's talking about it right now. And everyone's loving it, as they should. I think it's such a fun film. It's a great film. It has a lot to talk about. A lot to discuss.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get into this. So I wanted to start by just kind of gauging what were your expectations going into this film?
I was excited. The first couple teasers was like, this seems cool. You know, it could be a hit or miss, but I liked Elio. I'm gonna see where it goes, basically. It seems fun, the animation's fun. And then discussion around it closer to the release was very positive. Critics loved it. Anyone who got to see it early was talking really highly of the film. So I was excited. I always love supporting an original film, and I feel like, you know, when we were making our list of the 2020s Pixar movies, some of these films were kind of under fire, and I feel like I liked all of them. Even like, I know we'll get to this later, but some of the films that were more heavily criticized, there's still things to like about them and enjoy, and I think no matter what, it's fun to support them. So
yeah, I think Pixar is just such a staple in animation that I think people will take for granted that, like, even when they're not at their best, they're still on a pretty high level.
Good, yeah. I totally agree with that. And you know, people have had this conversation, but I also tend to agree that sometimes Pixar seems like it's better than Disney animation. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd be interested to see that comparison.
I would say, I think in my head, just kind of from my memory, I feel like I would say Pixar is more consistent with its output.
Mm-hmm.
I think while Disney goes...
And Disney goes back way farther, so, you know, it's kind of hard to compare that. But yeah, I think the past 10 or 20 years, Pixar has just been more consistent from what I can remember. Plus, it's hard. Disney's, you know, also being overtaken with live action adaptations, so that crowds the conversation, while as Pixar hasn't really had that yet. Never say never. I'm sure we'll get there eventually, but right now it's fun to focus on these films. So
I agree.
Even their sequels can be very fun, which we're gonna get a lot of those in the near future.
Okay,
so yeah.
But yeah, so specifically on Hoppers, I will say I was always intrigued by it. I remember people kind of talking like, so this is kind of like Avatar. And then the first teaser comes out and it's like,
yeah.
You mean like Avatar? It's nothing like Avatar. And it's like, you know what? I love that they're leaning
I
into
love the
it.
self-aware. Yeah. I agree.
I was also kind of interested because I will say on paper, this also gives, and especially in like the trailers, it kind of gives Wild Robot energy. And I love the Wild Robot.
Yeah.
So I was very kind of interested to see almost like a Pixar attempt for the aesthetic of that movie. Obviously, there's some key differences.
Yeah.
But kind of like community and environmentalism. I would say those are common threads between the two. I was very interested to see a different approach to a similar conversation.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, I've talked about this before, but I used to work for Disney. And one of the things I really liked was going to Animal Kingdom and seeing how passionate their cast members were about the conservation efforts they go to. And I don't know, it's very inspiring, and yeah, so I was happy to see a film about that. It reminds me of how much Animal Kingdom is low-key the best part. I'll say it. Anyways.
So, going into best parts. Alicia, what are some of the best parts of Hoppers?
I would say, like, a majority of this movie, I rated it pretty high. I don't know, I feel like I can't even, off the top of my head, think of any worst parts right now. But I'll definitely the best parts. They had me gagged, since we're in the spoiler territory, when the like queen insects
The queen
got
of the
squished.
insects. Meryl Streep, no.
What like our entire theater was gasping, as they should,
That
me
was a
included.
Crazy group experience.
I feel like it's been a minute since a movie has gagged me like that.
I would say certainly a Disney realm movie like that.
I totally agree, but I think it was such a great choice. It's like, oh, this is another level. Like, I was enjoying this, but like they're going there now. I always like when films surrounding a lot of animals acknowledge like things like that. They acknowledge the food chain. I think that was really funny in one of the trailers or teasers. They had that scene where that
you
one
still
beaver
wanna
gets
eat me?
yeah.
No,
No,
it
it's
feels
weird
weird
now.
now.
No, it was just such a funny film. I want to emphasize that because our entire theater was also laughing so much throughout. So was I. So was our group. Such a funny film, and I think that adds to the enjoyment. Pixar does a great job of having both sides of the coin where they make you cry and then make you laugh, and I think that's great. I think of what was her name? The shark.
Diane.
Diane.
Oh my gosh, Diane.
Let's have a good squish. No, I adored her. I think she was great. She was like maybe one of, if not the best part of the film. Actually,
Like, the audience adored her. Oh my gosh, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk a little bit more on Diane later. Rest assured.
Yeah, I agree. And then King George was that his name? The
King
beaver?
George, yes.
Yeah. He was great. His little crown. I love that they made a joke. Why do they have a crown? Where did he get a crown? That's not the most pressing issue right now. Yeah, the animal and human interaction between each other and individually was very fun. I love the style choice of having their eyes change depending on who's talking to who. I thought that was great. And I thought it also worked really, really well towards the end when King George discovers that Mabel is not a beaver.
Oh my god, that scene is so sad.
It makes it, but it's like I try to imagine that scene with the same type of eyes, and I can't. It wouldn't have had the same effect. And I've seen a couple people say that was confusing or silly, and I totally disagree. I think that was very effective. And I remember clocking that pretty early on in the movie. I was like, oh, I love that choice, and I want to talk about that in our podcast episode.
Kind of jumping off of that really quick. Whenever Jerry goes into the beaver robot, I actually really like the idea that like whenever he gets his like animated eyes, he also gets his floofy hair. Whereas when Mabel had it, she had her like crazy hair going out. I thought that was also a very fun little touch.
I agree. It's very fun. And I feel like if anything, it makes it less confusing because then you know who's who, and I appreciate that. I love the lizard. That was the first teaser we got of this movie, was of the lizard.
Ugh.
So gotta shout him out. Gosh, I feel like I also like how they pointed out the kind of political discussion with the environmental conversation, like how he got around the rules and regulations and how kind of easy that was for him and how easy it is in real life to do stuff like that. I think it's easy to say like no one can become corrupt because we have rules and regulations and checks and balances and all those things. But I think this film did a good job at kind of breaking it down in a very simple way that anyone of any age can understand how easy it is to get around things like that. You know, you can't build this highway if there are animals there, so he finds a secret way to get rid of them.
I do feel like it's crazy to have an approach to like abuses of political systems be like approachable by children. That's like kind of a crazy choice, but I think they do it very well.
They do it very well. I mean, people talk about like old Disney, like Mulan. There's a lot of movies where they discuss things like that really, really well and are still very relevant. So I'm happy to see that they've continued that good discussion.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm happy to know there was something I saw where someone did an interview where they asked, you know, did Disney ever try to get you to like silence that or lessen that discussion? They were like, no. So
and that does go counterpoint to a couple months ago. There was some kind of outlet that was saying that Disney was trying to decrease the amount of environmentalist messaging in the film. I feel like that's kind of crazy given the end product.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe they just said no to it and they were just like, oh, okay.
I don't know.
But end product is really great.
Yeah, I agree.
But some of my favorite parts that you haven't mentioned, I kind of loved the variety of robot animals. I thought that was cool. I didn't expect there to be more.
I didn't either. I'm surprised they didn't show that in the trailers.
I'm also gonna say, this is a really funny movie.
Mm-hmm.
I also really love that it just casually has such awesome things happening. Like, whenever the council convenes and, like, they all have their own entrances, like, oh my gosh, I remember being like, why is this kind of giving Endgame entrances? This is so sick! And, like, that point on, they kept having, like, really cool stuff happen, and things were funny, and there was emotion there, but then things were just also cool as hell.
Yeah.
Like, and then Diane comes in, and they're doing, like, Jaws references. They have, like, Body Snatcher vibes towards the end with the fake Jerry. Ugh.
Oh my god, can that reminds me, can we talk about Dave Franco?
Oh my gosh.
As Evil Jerry? He killed that. I saw that he was in the cast, and I was waiting to see if I could hear him, because he's been having a moment the past, like, year or so. And then I heard Evil Jerry start talking, and I'm like, Dave Franco! This is like his role. Like, I loved him in this role.
And I think that, I want to say that might also be him just, like, squeaked up as Little Titus.
Probably.
I wouldn't be, like, how
I'm
they
sure
do
they did a
Baby
voice
Groot
effect. Or, yeah.
with Vin Diesel.
Yeah. No, he killed that, and I need him to play another villain role. Maybe, like, in his, like, not animated, in a live action film.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested to see that now. I'm like, you could do the voice. You got the voice down, so we'll see what you could do with all of you.
Absolutely. I think he's a very commercial actor working right now, but gosh, if I don't love his work.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I think you covered at least most of my other best parts.
Mm-hmm.
Any worst parts, or I would say, like, weaker parts?
I mean, I feel like it's a fair comment that it was really easy to like, persuade the the mayor to be good again. I'm like, yeah, I get it, because it's a kid's movie, you want to be positive, like, but everything else is, like, actually a really good discussion. I would have liked maybe I don't know, it's hard because I loved Jerry once he started to come around. But it did feel a little easy. It's hard. I'm wrestling with it. It's hard to even say it's a worst part, because it's just a tough discussion. Because I also like, even when he is, like, supposed to be the bad guy at the beginning, I loved the dynamic between him and Mabel. They were fighting all the time.
House. My brother's
yes,
here.
no,
I
loved it.
Montage.
He was great. Even when I didn't like him, he was very interesting and funny. I don't know. Like, I just want to throw that out there. I do think that's a fair comment. That it was very easy and optimistic.
I do agree. I think that there's an interesting balance.
At least in this day and age.
Sure. Like, when you're talking about something that is a very real fight, and that, he is representing something that so many people are having to fight against.
Yeah.
I do think I could see the ending being, like, seen as unrealistic. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a movie where they're uploading their minds into beavers, but I don't know, especially because Pixar has been pretty well. Like, I've seen people throw around the idea that, like, Pixar does really great bittersweet endings, where it's like it's not always the perfect happy ending, but it's the conclusion of the arc, and then it's the next chapter. That the character starts. So it feels maybe a little out of character, or definitely not as bold of a choice to have it close up so cleanly.
I mean, it makes me think of Avatar and how they handle that discussion, because it's a very similar discussion. There's a reason why people and the movie compared it to Avatar.
Yes.
But while Avatar definitely has, like, I don't know, not higher stakes, but they have more. I mean, like I feel like in the first two movies, entire forests get destroyed. Even though there's a happy ending for our characters, it's definitely not a fully happy ending.
Because there's an understanding that more's coming later.
Yes, yeah, but it's hard because this is an original film. Like, did they even have a sequel in mind?
I don't think they need to.
I don't know.
It is, I think, a bit of a tricky subject.
Yeah.
So I can't fault them too hard for the choice that they picked.
Yeah.
But I do think I would have been interested to see what some of the other options on the board were.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there had to be so many.
Yeah.
And then Grandma Diane, come on, that's classic Pixar.
Twas.
But no, I loved them building the attachment to the Grove with it. I think even though that's like a tried and true Pixar trope, I love how important that was here, and tying into the theme and the love of nature. I thought that was all done really well.
Yeah. Ooh, also, I forgot a best part was the opening where she steals all the class pets. That's hilarious. And the fact that they've said she's done this before, probably many times. I think that's hilarious. Yeah.
No, I was thinking kind of about the style of this film on my drive over here. And I kind of feel like, and let me know if this resonates with you at all, I kind of feel like this has, like, a quality, like, in its comedy and, like, physical animation comedy. It reminds me a bit of the show Gravity Falls, where it feels kind of like this timeless aesthetic, but, like, with the way the characters, like, move and then, like, the cool stuff randomly happening that feels so much, like, grander, but still in this, like, woodsy setting.
Yeah.
And then even I think, like, the comedy feels very pulled from that kind of animation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some inspiration here. And then even, like, the way that they interact with, like, finding the beaver. Like, whenever she sees the robot beaver getting picked up, I'm like, I feel like I could totally see that coming straight out of that animation style.
Yeah.
I thought that was just an interesting note, I thought.
Perhaps there's some overlap with people who worked on the show and people who worked on this. You don't know. So that would be interesting to know, actually.
Yeah, and I absolutely adore both. But
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just think that was very
fun. Ooh, this is not really worst parts either. Just kind of like what we could have had. Have you seen the I forgot what they called it, but it's kind of basically the concept art for this movie where it looked like a Studio Ghibli film.
Yes, the test animation.
Like, please, Disney, just make that a movie. Not that I'm mad about what we got, but it shows like you're capable of that. So why don't you do it?
I'd be very interested to see Disney go into 2D animation, if anything, just to see what that market would look like.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's frustrating because I feel like my cat is eating my foot right now. It's frustrating because I feel like they halfway tried with Wish, but then they didn't really give it its proper due, and so obviously it wasn't received well.
It's just like
I would worry that would be like, well, see, there's not a market for it. I'm like, no, actually, there's a market. When you advertise, like this, Hoppers, I think, is a great example of when you advertise something well and you give it its chance and it will do well. People will like it. Versus Elion, I think anyone who did see it liked it, but it wasn't advertised well. So it didn't have as much of a market. So it's like, you have to, like, believe in your films and advertise them and get people excited for it, and then you can see what the true market for it is. So I don't know, and like there is a market for it because there are Studio Ghibli films that everybody loves. But the Gato movie that's coming out eventually, I think based off the one picture of concept art I've seen of that, I think that would be a perfect film to do that with. Not that I think they will, but
I also think it's
nice.
interesting. Like Walt Disney Animation would be the place to do 2D, because Pixar has always done 3D rendered animation, and I don't know. Maybe that is something they could experiment with in the future, actually.
Yeah. Well, they just talked about, I forgot, I don't know if there is a title to the film yet, but they are planning on doing their first official musical coming up. So, I don't know. They're branching out, so maybe this is another way.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
And they killed Coco. Well, and the movie Coco was really good. Anyways.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I think that movie highlights that, like, they can use music really well within their story. So I'm very excited to see that for them.
I agree.
We talked a lot about the comedy, environmentalism. I think that conversation was really great, and especially, I think, super accessible for kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think this would be a great starting point for kids who don't realize that nature's dying and constantly having to be fought for. Mm-hmm. They also raise up an interesting point of, like, the global community. Like, there's, like, everyone's living in this one big habitat. That theme to me feels very Wild Robot-y.
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea that humans are a part of that. I think I love that conversation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was very fun.
I agree.
And well written.
Yeah. I also have just something else to raise up and discuss. Is someone brought up a point that they are definitely taking the side of, even though the mayor and, like, humans are being violent they are being violent towards these species, the animals, and the film throws out the idea with the insect to respond back with violence, and they basically immediately shut that down, which some people are like, that can be disappointing. I don't. It's just an idea, just a conversation, not necessarily, picking sides, I guess, whatever. But it's a little typical Disney, I guess, to be like, no way, we have to respond to violence with peace.
No, it does make me, as an adult person who's seen these real life related events, be kind of like,
yeah.
But I do respect that this is for kids, and the idea that, and even Mabel's a kid.
Yeah.
So I think that is very in character, that, like, you don't stay the good guy by killing the bad guy. Certainly not in this situation.
Yeah.
But I do like kind of the approach to why the animals would feel that way, and I think it does kind of approach the idea of both conversation topics. And that being said, we talked a little about the ending, but it almost feels important to be like, and it is possible. So I wish that maybe it was led in a little better, the idea, like, just the idea that all of these, and they aren't saying all, it's just a one case situation, but I do think it's important to recognize that you can do crazy things for for the people in charge of this stuff, and they're still not gonna go the way you want them to.
Yeah, it might have been nice if they tried to have maybe a longer, nuanced conversation rather than just throwing an idea out there and then immediately squishing it, literally. But yeah, I can also understand wrestling with that and, like, trying to, like, get the message across to kids. So I understand that struggle, and also wanting a more nuanced conversation. Maybe this isn't, like, the best
what I think
place for that. I don't know what the answer is here. I don't think there is one.
Maybe what I would have, if I was in the pitching room, in the storyboard, I think maybe, especially with the theme of we're all sharing one big habitat, with the final act, maybe have the people there be super swayed, and like having the literal voters be the reason that he's responding so positively all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think that highlights that the bad guys making these decisions are not always going to do the humane thing. And even if you do crazy things, they're still going to make choices that benefit them. But then that power comes from community and getting people to understand your cause. I think maybe that would have been an approach I would have loved to see. And it feels like it was kind of set up to be that way as well. I'd wonder if maybe that was in some draft of the script at some point.
Mayhaps. Yeah. Ooh, I also want to shout out the old man that she visits and then helps to his house the whole day just for him to write down his grocery list. But I love how that they revisit that and have the animals deliver him his groceries.
That's so sweet.
That is so sweet, yes. Totally agree. I love that she's going to be able to work with the scientists that have helped her throughout the film.
And make Doug's collar.
Yeah. That's actually such a great reference. And then I also really liked the age that she was. It was very fun to have it like at that like high school to college age.
Yeah, it's almost...
You don't get that very often. It's very like
it's
kid
very...
or adult. Like there's no young adult, like just, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Fun age to explore.
I think it speaks volumes to Mabel as a character, and I'd love to actually switch the conversation over to her.
Yeah.
This idea of like this like young passion, but kind of like the aimless or just kind of very young and not knowing how to aim it correctly.
Yeah.
I think that's something that everyone can relate to at some point, and then kids, you know, obviously are in the very early stages of that.
Yeah.
And then the understanding of like how to kind of channel your passion into something productive. I think that's very important for kids to kind of learn. So I super love Mabel's kind of arc here.
And, you know, it makes me think of what future Pixar movies could do with that. I mean, it's hard to know original movies, what they could do. But just sequels and franchises, I think of Inside Out. I think they'll get to that age eventually with Riley. They could explore that with maybe some of the Incredibles kids once Violet and Dash grow up. That could be very fun. Trying to think of any others. We'll get to that discussion
Coco
later.
too.
Yeah. So we could eventually, with some sequels, get to those ages and explore those more, which would be very fun.
Absolutely.
And it'd be in very different ways. Incredibles, you know, you have the superpower in the conversation as well, and then Inside Out too, you have the emotions. A lot to do there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything else to talk about with Mabel other than she's pretty freaking awesome and hilarious. And I love her animation. She's so like fast moving and quick. It almost has kind of like an anime style with the way that the characters move, which I love. And it feels very purposeful with how chaotic she is as a character.
Yeah.
Her design, I think, is so cute. I love her having her grandmother's jacket. I love that they're able to move her personality from the character to the beaver. I also love the text, like the fur animation. I actually love. Like Pixar has typically done like really smooth animals, but I love here they did the work to like make the characters feel very textured, which I think looks wonderful.
I agree. Also, that reminded me of another thing I saw online where someone was discussing how, you know, like different, like Princess and the Frog, when they are an animal most of the movie, and they're exploring deep things like Princess and the Frog, they explore a lot of like racism. Here they explore obviously environmental concerns. And then people are raising the conversation kind of like they did with the Better Man movie, the Robbie Williams movie, where people tend to be more empathetic when when something is happening to animals versus humans. So I just thought that was interesting, and it makes me be like, maybe Robbie Williams did have an argument there. I think he did. I think he did have an argument there. That's not what I have a problem with. I'm like, I just don't like the design. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Indeed.
That was interesting.
And I also love the approach of how they humanize these animals, but still keep them as animals. Like, I thought, so fun. Next I wanted to talk on King George. Oh my gosh. Another great casting. Bobby Moynihan. This is maybe one of my favorite voice roles of his. The last one I can remember was like from If, and I feel like he wasn't. I didn't love that one.
Okay.
But he was the giant purple one.
I never saw that movie.
You should watch it.
It took me a minute to remember what you were talking about, but I haven't seen that movie.
If Imaginary Friends is a bad trailer, but an enjoyable little movie.
The camera.
But no, George, I think, speaks so much to like being a leader and like leading with kindness.
No, I have such trust issues because for like half of the movie, I thought he was gonna be a bad guy too. I was like, no, please, I can't handle that. So I was very happy that because then he brought up his dad and wanting to be different, and I was like, there could be something there that he could like be a secret bad guy actually. So I'm very glad he wasn't, because I love him, and I'm glad I can continue to love him. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yes. I love that backstory of how he became like the great leader that he is. Because didn't he say something like he wasn't even supposed to be a leader? He was like an outcast, but then the leaders in his family died or something, so he had to come back.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's still such a great leader, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He's so trusting. I love the approach whenever Mabel's talking about how she doesn't know what to do and no one cares about the thing that she cares about. And then he comes in with if you care about it, I care about it. And that's, that could so easily be a line that, like, is... In some movies, I think that line could not land. Here, I think it lands so well.
I think so.
And I think that's a testament to how well George is written as a character.
Yeah, I agree. How well that's built up to. I think it makes sense for him a lot. Because it's not something he's just saying and throwing away. Like, we know that he really means that. So it matters more. I love King George. I was so sad when he was sad, and then he was walking away all sad. I'm like, stop, just be happy. Become friends again. I can't handle this.
Oh, so sweet. Yeah, I think King George, great character. Definitely one of my top 5 King Georges.
Right.
And then we had
second only to the one from Bridgerton.
Right. And then under that is King George from
Hamilton. What? They're the same.
Georges.
Well, they're the same person.
I know, but
Him and the Bridgerton guy.
yeah, but Bridgerton guy isn't spitting on an audience.
You don't know that. Yeah, I was about to say you don't know that.
On camera.
Anyways.
Mayor Jerry, we talked a lot about him. I think another great voice work. I think the comedy the energy that he matches with Mabel is really funny. Especially the lead, like his entrance where he's like, "Don't worry, guys, I got this." What are you doing? Like it's like perfectly timed.
Yeah. I will say, I think it's a fair comment that maybe the ending is a little too optimistic. But since movies are often places to escape to, I think it's nice to see such an optimistic take. I wish it was that easy in the real world, but that's the joy of movies, is that you know, it's better than the real world. Like, we can go and be happy somewhere else.
Sure.
So, I'm like, Jerry, I'm so glad I liked you by the end of this film. It took a minute, but we got there.
Really funny whenever he was like being chased.
Yes, in the car. Oh my god, that entire scene. So funny. Diane, you're such an icon. No, he's so real for that though. He's like, this isn't real. This wouldn't happen to me.
And then
just gonna relax.
This is real.
He's hilarious. He really is.
Oh my gosh.
So.
And then obviously we gotta talk about Diane. Oh my gosh.
Diane.
What amazing voice work from Vanessa Bayer. Great design. It feels very akin, obviously, to Jaws with like the score that they have.
Well, even like
kick
Bruce
in.
from Nemo.
And it's very Bruce from Nemo, especially with like the smile up to
yes,
the car.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Then the voice. Oh. So great. She's really funny.
Really funny. I would actually really like someone to see how long she's in the film, because it's probably not long at all. Maybe even 5 minutes. She uses every second of that. It's great.
There was, in our audience when we went to go watch it, there was a little girl sitting in the row in front of us. And ever since she came on screen, like every like maybe 15 minutes, she was talking about Diane. She's like, I love the shark.
At the end
Where's
of the
Diane? I loved Diane.
The shark was the best part. So funny.
She's so real for that.
No, I love kid commentary like that. It's so funny. What does that remind me of? We watched something last year where kids were really funny about it. I don't know. I'm excited for what they say about the Mario movie.
I'm very interested as well. But, I love Diane. I love the birds. So many birds lifting the shark out. They called it Apex Predator, and I didn't know what to expect. And it was like the best thing.
Yeah. No, that was great. And then using her again at the end when they're trying to knock the
dam down.
The dam, yeah. That was so great. I love Diane. Anyways, and then when they kick her off, she's like, that is just so not cool, or something like that.
That was really rude, or something
that
like that.
was so disrespectful.
Oh my gosh. We need her in more voice acting roles, because, oh my gosh.
I agree.
Ugh. Any other animal friends we want to shout out? I love most of them.
Yeah?
Specifically, Eduardo Franco's beaver. I loved him. Perfect design.
He got me.
He
gets to eat me.
Still want to eat me? The bear I thought was fine. Unfortunately, she doesn't stand out nearly as much as everyone else in that main little group. And then, like, lizard. I love the lizard.
You went, ah.
I also have something I would like to say. His voice. Oh, I don't even know. Maybe he was Flock, but voiced by Dimitri Martin, maybe? But, oh my gosh, I so adored that little gecko guy. So funny.
Get Geico insurance.
Right.
Anyways. And then you put Needle Drop here.
Oh my god, the Working for the Weekend song, that is still stuck in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So love that scene.
And shout out to SZA for the end credits song. That was such a nice surprise. I was like, this sounds like SZA. And then it showed it in the end. I was like, oh my god, Queen, I'm so happy for you. So, and then apparently she has said before that she wants to do like a whole like kid album, which I think would be kind of awesome. So I'm like,
that's pretty rad.
Period, yeah.
Oh, love SZA. Animation style, we talked about it. I love it, but actually something that I would love to maybe turn our attention to is Pixar's had recent controversy, especially with Elio, with the way that they design their humans.
The faces.
What is it, the bean face, they say?
Yes, yeah. Turning red, Soul, Luca, Elio, all of those.
I feel like I don't see that here with their characters. Like,
Not at
especially
all.
just look at Mabel, and she's so like it has like a very oval shape.
Yeah.
It's very I think
Very
it's almost
different.
like it's very intentional to break out of that shape because it feels like every
Yeah.
character here kind of has a different shape going on,
I agree.
which I think
I think Jerry's probably the closest to that
I
bean
would agree.
face, but it's okay.
what you gonna do?
I don't know. I'm like, it's fine. I'm not really bothered by it. I always like new animation, so I'm not gonna complain. But I don't really care either way. Yeah.
No, I
Not
never
bothered by it.
found particular issue with it. Like especially like I don't know, it's animated. It's not just generic like Frozen where it's just like okay, that's people's faces.
Mm-hmm. Disney has had a lot of complaints with the like big eye princesses, basically the past several years. So.
But especially in most of those movies, like that's just how humans look, and then there's other characters that are like super vibrant and crazy looking. So I'm like, especially if it's not like okay, that's like what their main focus is here, and then I'm like, yeah, like Elio, like how it's like sure Elio has it, but then he's surrounded by so many awesomely designed creatures.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's never bothered me.
Whatever.
It's never bothered me,
Whatever.
especially because you can't say that they're lazy in their animation because they're doing that.
They just have a style that they like. But I also never complain about variety. It's very fun, especially when it's like this and it looks great. So.
We talked a lot about that conclusion. Okay.
Are you ready to rank?
So we are going to rank the 2020 Pixar films. Before we do that, maybe let me ask: do you have a favorite Pixar movie among like all of them?
Ooh, no, you can't ask me that with no preparation. That's crazy.
So sorry.
I'm looking it up on Letterboxd, a list of them. That's crazy. Well, Coco comes to mind for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Toy Story 3. I will say one of my hot takes is I'm not the biggest fan of Finding Nemo. So sorry.
Dang.
But I am a fan of WALL-E. I think WALL-E's pretty good. Now, would I say it's great? No. But I think it's a little too hated on? Yes. Ratatouille's great. Cars is great. Up, obviously. Brave, their princess movie is very, very fun. I wish she was acknowledged more in the parks. Obviously, Inside Out's a banger. Coco, The Incredibles. They've got a lot of great movies. Gosh, what would be my favorite? Probably either The Incredibles or Coco.
Mine is definitely The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the classic retro style, kind of leaning into where superheroes like are now.
Yeah.
Super love that.
Yeah.
And a noir style.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so good. I also love Finding Nemo, WALL-E, Monsters Inc.
There's a lot of really good ones.
Gosh. Let me ask this. Do you have a clear least favorite?
Let's see.
I do.
Finding Dory's definitely down there. Is yours not Finding Dory?
Mine is not Finding Dory.
Is yours Toy Story 4?
It is not Toy Story 4.
Out of the list I have here. Oh, is it Cars 2?
No, that one's also pretty down there for me, though.
I'm scared. Out of this list, I'm like, no.
My least favorite is The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that one.
And
That's
you
the
know
only
what?
one I haven't.
It's hard to say you need to.
Okay.
It's really hard for me to say that.
I mean, I'm sure I'll see it one of these days, but yeah. If I haven't seen it by now, it's gonna take me a while, so. Ooh, A Bug's Life is another one that's very, political if you look at it as an adult. You're like, damn. It's a good one. I like it. Ratatouille's also really up there for me. Up there, as in good. Just to be clear.
Ratatouille, man, I don't know what it is, and like I think it's good. For whatever reason, it doesn't click with me the way it does most people. Interesting. I think it's good, but especially compared to the rest of this list, I'm like, I don't. For me, I can't see this up with like Monsters Inc. and like the Pixar giants. Yeah. I don't know.
Now,
I think that's just a me thing.
Here's the question. I'm gonna say if, just to try to hurt people less. If they ever decide to do live action films, the Pixar films, which ones would you be okay with, like, or maybe even a little excited for? Because a lot on this list have to do with like toys, animals, cars, fish, like that goes to him. Anyways, things that would be interesting for a live action. Not that Disney would ever roll that out. Well, I mean, I'm thinking of Lion King.
My thing is, I feel like people would lean towards The Incredibles for that question, and I feel like that's like a hard no for me. I would hate to see that get brought into live action.
You just can't touch that. Like, you already have Fantastic Four, basically. Fantastic Four should count enough towards your live action.
I could see and this is if I gun to my head, pick a movie to do live action.
These are hard. Like Ratatouille.
Maybe you could do Ratatouille.
That has the most humans.
I'm looking at you. Maybe Josh O'Connor.
Josh O'Connor. No, and I think he really likes that fan cast too. So.
I think WALL-E or Up.
WALL-E.
Although Up I think is hard to touch, but I think I could see that being done.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
WALL-E
with Harrison Ford. I'm sorry.
Clock it.
That ate, but it's like Mother Gothel for Tangled, where it's like, that's great casting. Do we need it though?
And then Ratatouille, WALL-E could be really, really fun if they get the right cinematographer, because that's such a visually stunning movie that would make or break it for me, I think.
Well, how do we feel about maybe Soul?
Soul would be interesting.
But still, so much of that would be like.
Yeah, because when they're the souls.
Brave?
What a Brave, I think I would love that.
Brave,
actually.
I think would be pretty up there.
Yes. And then, what do you think about Luca?
I feel like unless you have Avatar James Cameron-esque looking characters, I feel like it's going to be hard to sell me on it. Especially with how awesome like the design of like anytime they get wet, the parts of them turn into sea creatures. I fear that just looks so cool. Yeah. I think that's going to be hard to translate.
Getting cat hair everywhere.
You know, great.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say, what do you think about Coco?
Coco, I think, could be done.
Yeah. If you have really good hair and makeup, and again, you have to have a really good cinematographer. Okay. Doable. Not that I'm begging for any of these, but I do think it's coming at some point in time, so I think it's relevant to talk about.
Gosh, that being said, even though I think Incredibles, like I said, you shouldn't touch it, I'd be fascinated to see how they do Syndrome's hair. Can you imagine?
Oh no. That poor actor, whoever it would end up being.
Gosh. We'll get
David Harbour.
Okay, we're stopping this conversation.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to speak it into existence.
So, ranking 2020s, the 2020 Pixar animated films. Mm-hmm. I figure we can still just go back and forth. Yeah. So, at my number 9.
Because we've seen all 9.
We've seen all
9.
The
2021.
At my number 9. And I will say, this being at the bottom is still like...
Me too. I don't have anything lower than a 6 out of 10, which is my, I would recommend. This is watchable, at least. Enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So at number 9, I have Elemental. Ooh. I think the animation's really well done. It feels kind of like it's trying to be Zootopia-esque with an emphasis on like a very specific cultural, like moving to the city experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting to kind of look at each element as their own like race with culture and kind of the combination of that. I think that's all cool. The like on paper plot line I think is very like, and why are they saving the city's water system? I don't know. It didn't. It's solid. I think it's romantic. For whatever reason, I went in, I think, with higher expectations than I came out with getting back.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
My number 9 is Onward. I was not a huge fan of this movie, or at least I don't remember being a huge... It's been a... I mean, I haven't seen it since it came out. I don't know. It has the disadvantage of being one of the only ones I haven't seen in theaters. Because I have seen Soul and Turning Red in theaters. They re-released it a while ago. So I was able to catch both of those. So I've seen all of these in theaters except for Luca and Onward. So it has that disadvantage, but Luca is definitely higher on my list. So it doesn't count for everything. I don't know. I was excited because Tom Holland was in it. I don't have a problem with the voice acting. I guess it just wasn't, the story wasn't for me. The designs, I guess, weren't particularly interesting to me. I don't know. I just don't remember a whole lot about it, and it was okay.
Sure.
This is my 6 out of 10. So it was all right.
My number 8 is also Onward.
Mm-hmm.
I love parts of it. Like specifically, I think of like the final like fight, and how sick that is. I love the dad and like the spell going wrong. I do think some of the designs are a little weaker than I would have liked, and then it feels, even though they're going for like modern fantasy kind of thing, it feels like it's still maybe a little muted stylistically. I would say this and Elemental are a little back and forth on it, on what I would like label as my least favorite of this batch, but yeah, Onward definitely has some solid moments that I like do remember and do love.
Yeah. My number 8 is Lightyear. This is one I liked more than other people, but it still is lower on my list. I don't know. I felt like maybe it helped that I went into this movie with low expectations because everyone said it was bad, and then came out of it being like, I enjoyed that, and they have a character named Alicia, so how much can I really complain? I remember me and my mom came out of that movie both liking it, and we went immediately to the store and bought an Alicia figurine. It's in my room in her house still, actually, so I should bring it here. I could have showed y'all. We have that one, and I think we have the main guy. What's his name?
Buzz Lightyear?
That's his movie that's his name in the movie? Anyways, guys, I don't remember. I remember he was based off that character. I didn't know if he had that exact same name. Anyways, I just think they did themselves really dirty by saying this is the movie that made Andy go out and buy the Buzz Lightyear figurine, toy, whatever. Just because I think that hyped it up too much in people's minds. Although, to be fair, that's kind of exactly what I did. I watched the movie and I went out and bought both figurines. So, like, I don't know. Maybe they did have a point there. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it had some sweet messages. Yeah.
Yeah. My number 7 is also Lightyear. And I'm also, I'm like kind of aggressively a Lightyear truther. I actually think it reminds me a bit of Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights, where literally, if you didn't try to be something else, I think this would be received so much different. Like, if this was just Spaceman, I think people would be like, I think obviously you inherently get less pull from attaching yourself to a franchise, but also the people who love that franchise denied that anyways.
And getting Chris Evans to voice him was like a great choice. I want him to voice more characters. He was very fun in this role.
No, I loved it. It almost has kind of a D&D-esque element of like the situations they find themselves in, which I think is fun.
And Socks was so fun. The cat,
so fun. Gosh, and then everything like technically, I guess you could see parts that are like, I guess that could be translated to the toy, but like the toy's so much more vibrant. It's just very weird choices. I almost want to say this movie. I'd almost be surprised to hear that when this movie was pitched, it was a Buzz Lightyear movie.
Yeah. Anytime you make one of your movies one big advertisement for other movies, you're done dirty. Like, but I think of Wish again. I'm like, you just should have let it be its own thing instead of a Disney 100th celebration movie.
Yeah, I feel like I might be talking a little on the negatives of it, but I still love this movie. I love the theme of it, the idea of like, you can always try to be better, as long as you're trying. That's like the start to get anywhere.
Now that you've seen Interstellar, that scene where he keeps going back and losing time. Oh my gosh,
I love that part.
That's so Interstellar, actually. Wow. Can't believe I just thought about that. Because I don't think I had seen Interstellar at the time of seeing this movie. But now we've both seen it, so.
Indeed. But, okay.
And is it my number 7?
Yes.
No? Okay. My number 7 is Elemental. So we had the same bottom 3, just different order. I was actually a little surprised to look on Letterboxd and see that was my rating for this, which is why I put it at the highest of the 3. They're all 6 out of 10s for me. I was surprised because I feel like I remember really liking that movie once I watched it, but that was my truth at the time, so that's what I'm going with. I don't know, I remember really liking the 2 characters. Really wanting to meet their characters in the parks, and I never could because I never got into the parks.
How?
You haven't seen? They have a meet and greet, but it's in Disneyland. I'll show you after. It's a little
crazy.
It's a little scary.
Some of the guests caught on fire.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was cute. It has one of my favorite songs from it. I forgot the title, but I listened, which is unfortunate because I've probably listened to the song 100 times. But it's when they're going on their date. I love that song, and I love the ideas it explored here. I think maybe I remember this movie in maybe a little more positively than I had rated it, because I had later seen the documentary done about it, where the director, he was so passionate about the story because it hit very close to home for him. So, I don't know. That was like all more context, and that's so sweet. So, that always makes me happy. I'm like, I love that he's so passionate about it. Yeah, that's cute. Maybe it's maybe a little bit more. I don't know. It did give Zootopia. Maybe if the marketing didn't give so much Zootopia. Maybe if it marketed more towards the romance or the immigration storyline, maybe that would have benefited them a little bit more.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
My number 6, I have Luca. I love the aesthetic of this film. It like the Italian like beachside city, basically like, oh my gosh, these are the things I've heard about Italy. Let's put them in a movie. And also sea monsters. Love the design of the sea monsters. Yeah. I love our main little trio. I think they're such great characters. I feel maybe a part of the reason that this film is a little lower for me is that, like, director, you're not going to have me watch this film and then tell me that this is not queer-coded as hell.
It is whether you admit that or not, quite frankly. So, no, I totally agree.
And I would say this is a little different because there's a similar conversation to be had about Elio. Of the idea of, like, the executives trying to take the queerness out of your story. But here specifically, like, with the dynamic between our main two characters, it's like, who are you trying to fool here?
Yeah.
Because it ain't me.
No. Are you trying not to get in trouble with the executives by lying through your teeth, or are you really this delusional?
Or have you not seen Call Me by Your Name? But I think it's a very solid film. Maybe a scooch by the books. Other than I think the great characters, but yeah, solid.
The next two, I'll only say one at a time, but the next two are pretty similar to me. In terms of ratings, it's honestly I could easily switch these two. My number 6 is Elio. I really liked this film. I thought it was adorable. Glorden, of course, is the highlight.
Glorden.
But liability, a disappointment, an aggravation.
Glorden is so
Just
up there as one of my
we
favorite
still quote
Pixar
him.
characters.
Yes, it's almost been a year since we've seen it, and we still quote him all the time. Just get in my mouth. I love him. Yeah, I don't know. I really like the designs on everything. I do wish maybe the story at times were a little stronger, a little more centered, but I with what we've heard about things being cut or changed since then, I guess it's not a huge surprise that maybe it feels like it's been changed a little bit. But I still feel like the end product was solid, and I'm happy that even if it didn't do super well at the box office, I know the reception was really good. I don't remember box office wise, but yeah, and it's not, I'm pretty sure, isn't it nominated for an Oscar?
Yes,
yeah.
it is nominated.
So there you go. It's not going to win, but
it's on there.
Yeah. I think that's very fun. Yeah. That's my number 6.
Indeed. My number 5 is Elio. Gosh, I think I do have, there's some issues I have with the film, but God, do I love that end product. I think despite executives' attempts, Elio is still very queer-coded.
I agree.
And I still love and view him as such.
Yeah.
I think inherently, to me, any story of a character who's trying to find community is like almost inherently queer coded to me. Like, I think there's very few exceptions where you couldn't convince me it is.
Yeah.
Like trying to find your community, not fitting in. I fear having the setting even be around a military camp is like even exceptionally more queer coded.
Absolutely.
And then having this other place be so vibrant and accepting and so many different people and places. It's San Francisco, it's New York, I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I would say similar to Hoppers. It has so many like killer scenes. But I'd also say like this is probably one of the more affecting movies of this list for me. Like there's like maybe 3 parts in this movie where I like was like tearing up. Just because it's like either really sad, but I think of like the scene where they have like the people from around the world messaging them to save them, and I'm like, this is so beautiful. Gosh, I do adore this film.
Yeah, absolutely. My number 5 is Luca, so we switched our 2 again.
Okay.
Similar vibes of where the placements are, but a little different rankings. I really liked Luca. I loved the trio. I also really liked the dad. I think it's Alberto's dad, and the cat. I love that he doesn't have eyes.
No,
he
not
has the
Alberto's.
eyebrows.
That's what's her name?
Who is
Francesca.
it? Oh, the girls.
I think it's the girls.
Okay.
Dad.
I loved him. He reminds me of the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs dad.
He
He also has no eyes.
No, I remember when that movie came out and people were like, the peak animated dad style.
Yes,
and I'm like, it's
absolutely.
hard to argue.
Yeah. No, I just like a lot about this film. I think it's funny. The bad guy reminds me of the bad guy from Ratatouille. They give similar vibes.
And he also is built like Joshua Cotton.
No. Never mind.
Keep going.
It's okay. The biker guy that's trying to win the race against them, and he's cheating. Anyways, I like that storyline. I think really the only cons for me in this movie is I wish we got more in the ocean. I feel like we didn't explore that a lot, which I get. It was kind of the point that he felt more at home on land. But I think it would have added more depth to explore more of the struggle between the two, like a Little Mermaid situation. Yeah, that's really it. Otherwise, I really like it, and I was disappointed to not be able to catch that in theaters. I think that was the weird time, I believe, when I was leaving Texas and moving to Florida to work at Disney or whatever. So I didn't get it. I got Soul before I left, and I got Turning Red after I got there. Luca, I believe, was in the middle, and I was like,
damn,
I'm in the middle of moving. I'm sorry. Anyway.
My number 4, I have Hoppers. And we just did a whole section on why that's where it is. Lovely.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Inside Out 2. This was also a struggle. My next 2 are both 8 out of 10. So, again, they could probably be switched pretty easily. But I did put this here. I don't know. I remember at the time really being moved by this film and the way they explored anxiety. It had reminded me of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. How uniquely they explored anxiety in that film too. I think both are really well done. I don't know. It shocked me. It gagged me a little bit too. So maybe that's the last time a Pixar movie gagged me, was Inside Out 2. It's like, damn, they're really going there. But I loved it. I love Riley's storyline exploration. The only thing remotely that brings me down is just the teenage awkwardness, which, that's just very realistic, but it's like hard to watch. You're like, oh my gosh, we were all like that in middle school, but it's hard to relive. Anyways, it's also very queer coded as well, actually. So yeah.
At number 3, I have Inside Out 2. I think it's a bit of a hot take to say I prefer the first. I love Anxiety, though. I think Anxiety...
And Maya Hawke was such a good choice.
Yes, one of the best voice acting performances, certainly of the 2020s, but certainly in,
People were, genuinely campaigning for her to get, nominated for an Oscar for that, actually.
Which I think speaks to our need for more.
I'm like, come on.
More nomination
Yeah.
But, gosh, I just truly love the idea of Inside Out, and Inside Out 2 adjacently. Anxiety's such a great character. I almost wish that some of the other emotions that were introduced had more of a time to shine as well.
It's very fair.
I feel like the first one rounds out all of the things they introduced so well. I love the idea of identity being introduced here and how you see yourself and how that's made from your memories. The gag of whenever it strings out and it's like, oh my god, I'll cry right now.
Yeah.
And then her reaction to that and the idea that anxiety comes from, even though it's a negative emotion, it comes from a place that's positive.
Good and trying to help.
Gosh, I think they just do that so well.
Yeah.
But then even just being out in the space of being lost in the mind, it feels like that also was kind of less developed than I feel like it was in the first one, where it's in the first one it's oh, we're lost here and we're gonna have to explore what being here is like, whereas it feels like they kind of yada yada go through places in the second one a bit for my liking. But it is still so moving. Yeah. Performances are great. Like, and like Ayo Edebiri. Edebiri. Oh my gosh. Is here as Envy, and she's killing it. But also,
what more?
Like, she does not have nearly enough lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree with that. Actually, entirely.
Yeah, but still so moving.
Mm-hmm. I actually think it would be so great to have even just one category for voice acting. You don't have to split it up any more than that. I think just to start, one category, 5 people can get nominated for voice acting performances. Yeah. You don't have
Diane
to...
in there.
Clock it. Yeah, I totally agree. My number 3 is Hoppers. So once again, we have switched ours. We have like very, and then our top 2 are gonna be the same, just different orders. So, yeah, I think your explanation, funny enough, even though you had yours switched, is exactly why I have mine in the order I have mine. I guess I just didn't realize it, but I was like, yeah, that as far as you're talking, like there are some valid criticisms of Inside Out 2. I mean, Hoppers, like we said in our video here, it was kind of hard to find something negative to say about it, to be honest. So, yeah.
Indeed. If you had to pick between Inside Out or Inside Out 2?
I actually totally agree. You won me over. I would say Inside Out 1. The first one is better. Mm-hmm. That was a good argument.
My number 2, I have Turning Red. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. I feel like I loved Turning Red off the bat a little more than some people on the internet did. I think it definitely speaks out to, women and people who've gone through experiences similar to this, but I absolutely adored it. Gosh, it also, maybe it helps that I had so many, like, girl friends around that age. Yeah. That I'm like, I can't help but, like, see the people that I, like, was super close to at that age in this story. And I thought it was so cute. Unfortunately, well done generational trauma trope. If it's well done, it's gonna get me. I love the panda. I love it being like almost like her superpower. I think the approach of that's so fun. Yeah. And then the final act, whoo! I absolutely adore it. And then great use of trashy pop star song.
Jordan Fisher, I believe his name is. Like, what a great pick. He's always been such a big fan of Disney, and he's killed it with his songs. Livin' Maddie, he was great in. Obviously he sings in the duet for Happily Ever After, the big and popular fireworks show. So, and then here, he's just a star. And then do you want to build a snowman? Do you remember when come on, guys. I'm so glad they're smart enough to keep him around. He did great when he was on Hadestown, the clips that I saw of him. So, he's just killing it. He's very underrated, even though he is in many places, but continue to put him more places because he deserves it. Indeed. So, I'm glad he gets a paycheck every time Happily Ever After plays. So, yeah, that was also my number 2. This film was so special to me. I think it's, despite the criticisms, I think it was great that we were having a discussion about this, because I do think periods are viewed as very, like, gross. Like, we don't want to talk about it. Things don't talk about it. But that it shouldn't be something that we're ashamed of. Like, it happens to most women. So it should be, I mean, it doesn't have to be, like, talked about, but it should be normalized. Like, it happens, so we shouldn't act like it doesn't happen, and it affects a lot of women, and there's a lot of conversations around that with birth control and cramps and lots of other things that people don't want to talk about, but this film touches on, and I think more films should do that. And it reminds me of the Jane Austen's period drama, actually. So I'm like, wait, I actually love that.
I don't think I knew that you watched that. That's great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then, both of our number ones.
Soul. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
I
come
feel
on.
like this movie is not brought up enough when we talk about great Pixar. Oh my gosh.
Like, this is a 9 out of 10 for me, maybe 9.5 out of 10. Like, so good.
I am a sucker for life-affirming art. And
I'm a sucker for jazz. Like, that Princess of the Frog is my favorite Disney movie, so, like, come on. I love good jazz music.
Soul 22, like, the voice acting is so great. I love the message that there's, like, just the meaning of life is to live, and that life just inherently has so much beauty and value.
Yeah.
Love that. The metaphor, like, the fish looking for the ocean, and it's like, I'm in water. Oh my god, it just hits so hard. If, like, still, like, subtly music. I love the way it infuses music and like, especially jazz, a non, like, like, a lyricless art form, and, like, still making it land so well.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I adore it so much. Oh, and then the line creatures who, like, run the pre-life world. Oh my gosh, I love the design of those guys.
Absolutely. I think that was great. I also, as someone who has a lot of interest but not, like, a clear, like, singular passion, this is a very fun discussion. I don't have the same view. Like, Soul 22, I feel like, had more, like, she didn't care about anything. Not that she had a bunch of interests and just couldn't pick one. So it was a little different, but it was still fun having, or interesting, emotional, whatever, having that discussion of just enjoy life. Like, don't worry about having one passion or finding the thing to give you life. Like, the thing to give you life is just to enjoy it and just to explore and have fun. And I love that. So, like, period. Anyways,
Yeah. Oh, and it's such a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
I think it's so impressive to make the parts land of, like, on Earth versus in this, like, astral plane, and, like, have both be still super visually interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I adore that.
They do a lot of great world building as well. So I think about when they get lost in, like, a void and, like, the ship and sinking and getting sad, and I'm like, this is great. I'm very interested in everywhere they explore, really. And then having souls going to the cats, and it's just very fun. Him, Joe being, like, an inspiration to the kid that he's teaching how to play. There's just so much to love about that film, and I'm so glad I got to see both that and Turning Red in theaters eventually. So they were great watches.
I adore them.
Turning Red especially had a much fuller theater, although I watched it in, like, the Disney theater. So, you know, there's gonna be, you know, a full theater. But it was just so fun to celebrate that movie with people who loved it as much as I did. So that was a great feeling. A great movie theater experience.
So that is our ranking. Oh, when we have them written out. So please let us know, what are some of your favorite Pixar films, and what are some of your favorite Pixar films of the 2020s?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that. Next, turning gear to upcoming Pixar. So currently slated with names, I have in 2026, later we have Toy Story 5. The director also did WALL-E, Finding Nemo, and Finding Dory.
Interesting.
That's not a great pitch for you. I think it's insane that the person who did Finding Nemo did Finding Dory, personally.
But, you know, they have an interesting concept. They have a good reason that Woody's coming back, not just, you know, oh, he's back.
It is, considering the hesitations I had, I think they had a great trailer.
I agree. So,
And then Greta Lee as the lily pad, I think is great.
I'm here for it. I'm excited.
I don't know. I don't love Toy Story 4 by any means, but gosh, if it didn't cement that I will just always enjoy seeing them, like, bring these things like this like toy world and the fictional things come to life.
Yeah.
It's just always at least fun to see.
I'm just interested to see how far and in what direction they take this clear criticism of like iPad kids. I'm interested because you have to be careful because there are I mean, your main audience is families bringing their kids. So if you sit there and you lecture them, it's not going to bring a lot of people there, and it's not going to certainly not going to bring them back. So I'm interested to see how they do it and where they go with it, because I think it deserves criticism, but how do you do that without completely losing your audience?
Well, I think there's something just like because toys are such like a relatable thing, and you know the parents that are bringing their kids there, they grew up with toys, not tablets. So I think that there is something inherently sad about what kids are attaching to instead of toys.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to actually see that approach and the idea of like why play is an important thing separate from everything that the internet brings.
Yeah. It just, instead of watching videos, I think it's important to have your child grow their imagination and create stories in their head rather than just view them and consume them. And I also think just the movement of toys is very important for motor skills, and just you lose a lot of that with iPads. I don't know. There's a very interesting discussion there, and I hope they do it well. I think that has a chance to be like another Inside Out 2, where they could do something really interesting with that, but we will see.
I agree.
We will see.
I will say, coming off of Toy Story 4, I'm still gonna have that hesitation until I see it.
Yes, no matter how good the trailers are, we'll ultimately have to wait and see.
Yes, absolutely. And that director, I want to make sure I shout them out by name, is Andrew Stanton. Sorry. Next up, we have Gato. It is set for 2027. So beautiful, the art that they've released of it.
I know.
Directed by Enrico Casarosa, who directed Luca. So beautiful animation I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And I will say Luca was a pretty grounded story considering Pixar's repertoire.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how that kind of takes shape.
And it's about cats, so I'm excited. Or
Yeah,
maybe.
cats.
It seems like it is.
Unknown, but Incredibles 3 is confirmed. Directed by Peter Sohn, who directed Elemental and The Good Dinosaur. Take that as we will. I don't know. It feels interesting because those are so aggressively different from the Incredibles movies.
Yeah.
Feels kind of insane to not get.
That is interesting.
Feels kind of insane that they didn't bring Brad Bird back because he did the other two. Feels bizarre to me, and I don't know.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll
see what the
indeed.
pitch is. Yeah.
And then the last one that has been confirmed. There's not a release year attached yet, but it is Coco 2, directed by Lee Unkrich, who directed the first Coco and then Toy Story 3.
Oh, that's the one I'm most excited for then. Okay, then.
Indeed. I think that has a lot of promise.
Wow. Toy Story 3 specifically. I'm sold. Not that I wasn't before.
But why are we not putting him on Toy Story 5? A little bit. You know? What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
But yeah, so even though we're getting some sequel stuff, a lot of sequel stuff from Pixar in the coming future, I think Gato looks exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see that take shape over time. And it's hard to say I'm like not excited to come back to these worlds.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other original films coming out in the near future as well as the sequels. We just don't know about them yet. I think it's easy to say, yes, you're getting a sequel to this movie you already know and love. But maybe talk about original films closer to the release. I could see that. But we'll see.
Indeed.
I'm I'm excited.
I wonder if we're gonna get the Gato trailer in front of Toy Story 5.
That would be fun. At least a teaser, because we didn't get any sort of teaser from the end or pre to Hoppers.
Yeah.
None of that. So, which is a little surprising to me, but that's okay.
What you gonna do?
Maybe Toy Story
5. Kind of looking at this year's animation so far, / what's to be expected. So I'm guessing not a lot of people have seen this one, but there's Cosmic Princess Hakuya on Netflix that I watched. It's a very anime Japanese style story. Goat, which we've both seen and have we think is liked.
Yeah, enjoyed.
And then Hoppers. So that's where animation currently is for 2026.
Soon. Yeah.
Upcoming, we have Super Mario Galaxy, which is kind of just around the corner.
Yay!
And I'm very excited for it. I'm actually
excited.
Kind of anticipating liking this at least a little better than the original.
Me too.
Which I'm very excited about. King. Also this year, not necessarily in release order, just the order I found them. We have Cat in the Hat, which I'm also very excited about.
Yeah.
Minions and Monsters. You know, if it was just a Minions movie, I'd be like, sure. But with monsters, I'm like, okay, show me more.
Okay, pitch.
I love me some monsters. Angry Birds 3.
I haven't even seen the first two.
That I cannot believe we're getting an Angry Birds movie in our year of 2026. When is the last time anyone has thought about Angry Birds?
So real.
So
I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to watch the first two.
I feel like they're just trying to revive that app for whatever reason.
Maybe.
Paw Patrol the Dinos movie. Anyways, Hexed from Disney.
Very excited for that. That the concept, the very little that we know about it, sounds fun. So I mean, we'll see the more we get from it. But
then there's this little movie called The Legend of Aang.
Should have been in theaters.
Paramount.
That literally kills my excitement for it by like half, because I just feel in my bones that it's gonna be good, but I don't even care at this point. I just want it in theaters. And now we're getting HBO's gonna be sold to those same people, so
Paramount, may your company go under and you have to sell all of these things anyways.
Crash and burn.
Something called Swapped. My understanding it's animals trading.
Yes, Michael B. Jordan
bodies.
is in that.
I'm very interested to see some more on that.
I'm excited. It kind of like Goat. Like if nothing else, I'm excited to show up for Michael B. Jordan in that one. So yeah.
Coyote versus Acme. Long-awaited release.
That's getting a theatrical release.
About
and
damn
just
time.
Existing in general. Yeah.
And then Laika's Wildwood, which I'm very, very, very excited about.
Oh, off the top of my head, I can't remember anything about that one.
It's one of those stop motion. That's what Laika does.
Oh,
like they did Paranorman, Box Trolls, Cujo and the Two Strings. Have you seen that one? Oh, that one's really
I haven't seen any of those.
So we're gonna have to
do... But stop motion, like, I'm sold. And I'll watch those.
Maybe Caroline was Laika as well.
Coraline,
not Caroline. Coraline.
Mm-hmm.
They do great work. We're gonna have to watch those films before Wildwood comes
I have
out.
seen Coraline, by the way, if that person has done it.
So. But yeah, there's some big names here.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, any that you think are gonna be in the animated awards conversation, if you had to guess off
Toy Story 4 won the Oscar for animated
I think Toy Story
year.
5 will inherently gets a nomination.
Yeah, I agree. I think inherently it gets a nomination.
I think Wildwood has some great opportunity to be a good contender because people and animation are very excited for it.
If Super Mario Bros. Gets a better critical reception, maybe. I think so. I hope so. And then it's hard to say on Hexed or Gato because we know next to nothing about them. But just inherently, Disney and Pixar movies tend to get nominated anyway.
Sure.
I think they'd have to be pretty bad to not get nominated.
I feel like if Legend of Aang was getting a theatrical release,
I feel
like there would have been a great opportunity to campaign that because people love that.
Coyote versus Acme, I think could maybe.
I fear it might end up being kind of like the Looney Tunes movie, where it's big that it was released, and that's kind of where the celebration ends.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it got some love, and it just depends on if it's any good.
I'm very interested to see, because I will say with the Looney Tunes movie, it kind of just felt like a really long Looney Tunes episode. I'm interested if this one can feel truly like a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and if that happens, I love me some Looney Tunes. Sure. Let's campaign that.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so that's going to wrap up our conversation. You can see Hoppers in theaters right now. We recommend you do so.
Yes.
So on to the movie of the year. Reminders of Him.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk that trailer that I now never have to see again. Oh my gosh.
Listen, I love that song actually, and I will not be ashamed of that.
No, I also loved that song.
Yeah.
Until I had to hear it every time I was watching this trailer.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hate the trailer just because I am a fan of the book. But I'm not so delusional. I was going into it being like, this is gonna be great, because I think I did that a little too much with Regretting You, and then it was okay. So I think I was like, we'll see. I'm excited for these actors. I liked the book, but we'll see. And then the reception started coming out, and I was like, okay, my expectations are low. And then we start the film, and there's some bizarre editing choices, and I was like, oof, we are in for something. But then, it slowly builds up, and you're like, I'm enjoying this movie, actually.
Sure, why not?
Like, there are certain scenes where I'm like, I am not bored. I'm like, that was funny, or, oh, that was cute. I don't know. The depth is definitely not super there. I think it could be better in many places.
Sure.
It's hard because in the book, some books are so, the reason that they can't be adapted very well is because so much development happens internally in the main characters' heads. So, and this is very much one of those. So it's hard to show that and to write that in movie form.
In a visual medium. Yes.
And I do feel like they struggled with that here. I feel like they did an okay job. It's not the worst. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think both of us came out of that movie and we were like, sure. It wasn't like we were blown away, but it wasn't like we were like, well, we just wasted 2 hours of our lives either. So, I don't know. And there were, I think, certain scenes that were done really well.
Yes.
Yeah, in an overall messy movie,
there are scenes
I'm like, they kind of ate that.
There are definitely some scenes that I think are like borderline, like kind of perfectly done.
Yeah.
And then I'll also say, whoever casts these movies does not get paid enough because, oh my gosh, it kind of across the board, the casting I think does a lot to save all of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, but man, and it's the casting is combating the script to like make these movies watchable.
Yes. That's why I'm glad people are acknowledging that Tyreek Withers is very talented and a very fun personality, because he just tends to pick pretty.
It's two pretty rough ones and three even.
Three, yeah.
Even though I enjoyed I Know What You Did Last Summer, but they're definitely not
the projects you want to have back to back, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then him, and then the jokes about reminders of him. that was kind of funny.
Reminders of what
I hope he
did
gets
last
his due.
summer.
And then he was in Tell Me Lies, which I started, but I'm not a huge fan of, so I don't plan on continuing. But he has a very, very small role in that, at least from what I've seen. I saw most of the first season. And he was like, he's there so little that it took me a while to even confirm that it was him. Because he just didn't show up that often. But, yeah, I hope he can get some better projects, because I think he has great potential. It'd be nice if maybe he got some sort of like DC or Marvel project that really put him on the map more in a positive light. Yeah, because I feel like even in shows or movies from those places that are not the most well liked, the people, the actors, tend to still get
their recognition.
Yes, absolutely. So, anyways, we'll
Indeed.
see.
Best parts. I know we talked about like certain scenes. Do you want to shout out any of them?
I really like when the two main characters, Kenna and Ledger, are. It's pretty early on when they're talking in a grassy field. I really liked that conversation. I really liked. Oh, what's her name? Any scene with the girl who just kept calling him a jerk?
No, her.
Girl... Jerk. I loved her. Queen.
She's labeled as Lady Diana on Google.
Whatever. I loved that. Gosh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. They were very like minimal scenes, I will say.
Ruth, who ran Paradise. I thought she was enjoyable every time we saw her.
Yes, the Ginny and Georgia mom. Loved her. I loved that very, very, very small storyline too. I'm barely touched on
The ukulele.
But yeah, that was sweet.
Guitar.
I liked that. I like when Kenna reads her journal of that night when Scotty, I guess spoilers, we already said that, but anyways, when he dies in the car accident that they get in. I liked how that entire scene was done when they finally showed that entire scene. Yeah. I don't know, the conversation about how she never got to hold her child, I thought was really well done. And then the ending scene when she gets to meet her child, I thought was overall really.
Love that scene.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I thought that was great.
Indeed.
A few shining scenes.
For sure. You definitely shouted out some of my favorite stuff. I'm also going to say I simply love Micah Monroe, who is Kenna.
Oh my gosh.
I love her in like everything. And I will say, even of the main characters, she's definitely the most well written, even if I think that still leaves something to be desired, and she's doing a lot to make up the work.
Yes.
And then even Grace and Patrick's casting, I think that was also pretty inspired.
Yeah.
Even if they're a little more limited in the movie than I expected. Going in, I did not expect the face of her not being able to see her child to be Ledger especially for as long as he was. Maybe jumping over to worse parts, I will say, crazy to have him be a fence rider for so long.
I think the scene where he officially becomes the asshole is the grocery store scene. And then for her to have a restraining order against her after that, I'm like, y'all are actually ridiculous. You came to her place of work and you're gonna be mad at her? That's bizarre delusion right there. And then for him, I'm like, this is the point where you were fighting so hard for her not to even see her. now you're officially the asshole. It's one thing when she shows up to y'all's house to be like, this is not appropriate, or this is not the time and place, this is not going to go well for you. That's one thing. But then when they develop their relationship and then to have that happen, that's crazy behavior. And I would have been more pissed than she was. So, actually crazy.
Insane.
And then I hate how glossed over the line, I think you might be the saddest person I've ever met. I hate how glossed over that was because that was such a powerful moment in the book. And that was like kind of like a throwaway line in the movie, I would say.
And it's like a great line.
Yeah. I don't know. That was disappointing.
I'm gonna also throw out whenever they have their first kiss. Oh my gosh, does it feel like that came out of nowhere?
That was not the time or place.
Oh my god.
No.
What? And like when he closes the door, I'm like,
oh no.
Girl, this is a red flag. He just cut off your exit.
No, that was so bad. It's one thing if he totally misreads that, tries to like kiss her to make up for it. It's another for them to continue making out for like a few seconds before she puts. I'm like, if she were to push away the second he tried that, that's one thing. For you to actually give into that after you were clearly so pissed at him, that was not a we have tension scene. That was a you did something shitty and I'm mad at you. Why would you like? I hated the way that was done. I totally agree with you. That was just so icky. I'm like, ugh, I can't.
I'm also gonna say I don't know how common this opinion might be. Maybe the weakest link in this cast for me is Scotty.
Oh,
I feel like he does not do a lot to be like lasting impression. Oh my gosh, this is something I would like hate the person who took this person out of the world. Yeah. It was just like, wow, what a mid-white guy.
Oh gosh, no. One of his only scenes is the one from the trailer when he's like, I'm just working up the courage to ask you out. And then for the other prominent one to be, I'd like to return these and never shop here again. I'm like, ugh.
Jumping
I'm
off
getting
of that really
so
quick,
bad right now.
Can we talk about the two... That's one of two scenes where it's like, what do you mean you just did a refund on a card in 3 seconds? What do you mean?
What do you mean you can't date customers? I don't know. She probably was just lying about that, but no. I actually wasn't quite sure. I'm like, are you lying about that or is that actually a policy? I can't tell, and that's a bad thing.
And then Ledger, like, whenever she first shows up to the bar, and he's like, we got really old coffee, and then he dumps it out, goes to the machine, and then comes back with an entire pot of newly made coffee. I'm like,
you did not make it
what?
That Oh,
and you're gonna tell me you're not a coffee place.
That is the specific scene I was talking about with the editing, which is so like I was like, wow, someone needs to be fired for this job right now. That's how bad it was. They cut between the two, adding nothing to what was happening way too many times. That's crazy. I'm like, I could do a better job at that, and I've never edited anything before in a big capacity like like that. So like that's crazy. Yeah. Ooh, shout out to the little girl though that plays Diem.
Yes.
She's adorable, and I would love to see her more places.
Oh my gosh, she so sweet and truly just like bringing to life every character that interacts with her. That
is one where I would say, aside from obviously she's your daughter, you want her, like this is a little girl that so many people would love and support.
To keep her in
yes.
your life.
I think that was so well done. It was not in any capacity giving like, okay, sweetie, say your line. Say it cute. Like, it actually felt like she was doing a good job. It felt natural. It felt, I don't know. It felt like she would actually say that. And I don't know.
No, for sure. Like, especially because critiquing children actors can be pretty brutal. Mm-hmm. Mostly because of how horrible people can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I love highlighting when child actors like have got the thing where it's like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Alrighty. So, I wanted to give you an opportunity as someone who read the book, and you were talking to me about it. What are some of the biggest changes from the book?
The main one that I've already talked about that they leave a lot out just because she has a lot of internal conflict. But the biggest thing that I noticed and could remember, because it's been a while since I read it, but so I guess I could be wrong about this, but I feel like I remember the scene where they get in the car accident being more like nuanced. I think you have to be careful with something like that because obviously a lot of people for very good reason hate when people drink and drive because it's disgusting
and insanely dangerous and putting so many people at risk.
Absolutely. And then so I think you have to be careful with having your main characters be in a scenario even remotely close to that because they can very quickly become very unlikable. So in the movie they have it where they get high and drive, which some people say is different. Some people say it's not as bad. I'm pretty sure in the eyes of the law it's the same. Like, and I think it should be. I think it is just as bad because it doesn't matter. You're still impaired in some way and driving. But in the book, I feel like I had remembered it being a lot more of a. He wanted to drive. Scotty wanted to drive, and she didn't think that was a good idea. But then he was like insisting on driving, about to drive. And so she just took over. I remembered it being more of like she was forced into that kind of thing. So then the guilt of it, costing him his life was worse. And it made her less unlikable because it was a little bit more like you didn't have as much of a choice as someone like choosing like, oh, I'm fine, I can drive.
And I would say, especially in this project, with Scotty being pretty unremarkable, like it feels like they easily could have.
Yeah, he's not around anymore, so it's like you don't really have any reason to like save his character or whatever, morally. And I don't know, I feel like in the movie they almost barely touched on the irresponsibility of it all. So I was a little disappointed in that. I would have liked it to be touched on more and more nuanced. I think you have to be more nuanced, otherwise why would you like Kenna? You know, if she was just like happy to drive impaired, you know, that's not a good look at all. So I wish that was maybe a little more well done. So, but I also, you know, like I said, it's been a while since I've read the book. Maybe I'm misremembering it. Maybe I have rose-colored glasses on. But anyways, yeah, that's all I could say.
Indeed. We talked a lot about Kenna. We talked a bit about Ledger. He's
alright.
Tyreek Withers is doing his best to make this character come off charming when he's doing like.
He's given like nothing, because his character just rides the fence so much, so it's hard to like him. It's like you gotta figure out what you're doing here, buddy.
Oh my gosh, can we also talk about how like funny, unintentionally funny it is that they make such a big deal about her finally getting a phone, but then they never use it, and he just keeps randomly showing up at her house unannounced. Mm-hmm. It's like, what? We had a whole scene, like a 5 or 6 minute scene about her getting your number, and she never uses it.
No, and I thought it was interesting. I'm like, you're so broke, and you're gonna buy a nice phone. It seemed like a nice phone. Like I would have, you know, if I was broke, but you kind of need a phone in these days and age. You know, you have a job, like I get it. Unfortunately, you kind of need one. I'm gonna get a flip phone. For
I
like
don't know. I mean,
$50.
think of how many older iterations of iPhones there are. Like, I think that you could
I
easily get a
guess so.
cheaper one off of like Facebook Marketplace or something like that.
That's a good point. But I'm like, I was kind of thinking that too about the phone. I was like, oh, it's finally coming up. That looks like a nice phone, and then we never see it again. So maybe if we just saw it again or talked about it a little more.
It's just a weird thing to highlight for so long, and then
and then not,
and then explicitly
care
ignore
about
the
it.
fact that she has one.
Yeah. I also feel like there was stuff cut out, or at least it gave that, whether it was not written as much as it should have been or stuff was cut out of Grace, the mom.
It feels like there was a lot of, like, I expected Patrick and Grace to have more kind of talking through where they're at as characters.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that makes so much of their actions feel so exaggerated because we're not seeing
that transition happen.
Yeah.
I agree. I felt like there was more
I mean, especially Grace. I will say it feels like
Grace.
her performance felt very like intentional and internal. It feels like we definitely were just kind of missing
a lot, because we have that scene where she shows up and is watching Kenna walk at her where she lives, and then we don't really see, and that suggests that there's, she has some thought there of maybe forgiving her or maybe thinking about the entire situation more, but then we don't see that at all until she shows up again at her door way later in the movie. It's just very jarring. It felt like there was more to explore there, with her being the first one to maybe start to forgive Kenna, but we don't really get a whole lot of that at all, and I was a bit disappointed in that, especially because it's not even 2 hours. I mean,
And then I also really love the scene whenever Kenna comes in after meeting DM. And then like they have that, like, I think that the acting, it's so like unspoken, but I think really strong between the two of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Very, very odd.
And I've never seen Gilmore Girls. I started that and hated the main character so much that I stopped watching it. But she's the mom in Gilmore Girls, and Lorelai, I think, I forgot. What's her daughter's name? It starts with an R. I'll look it up. Anyways, she is such an iconic mom character. So to waste her, Rory Gilmore, and then the actress is Lorelai. So to kind of basically waste her, I think is kind of crazy. Like, low-key, she might be the biggest star of your movie, actually, because Gilmore Girls is pretty big. So anyways,
absolutely. I want to briefly talk about the directing. It's the first film I've seen from this director. Let me pull up her name, and it is female director.
Her, gotta love that.
Reminders of him, Vanessa Caswell. This is her 8th directorial movie.
And to be fair, I feel like most of my problems are with the editing and the script, which are not her main job.
Yeah,
I mean, the director is supposed to have your yes. So,
but then also you're dealing with the person who wrote the book.
That's
like,
true.
how are you going to argue with this adaptation?
Yeah.
But I will say the directing itself, like, I think the lighting was pretty, like, kind of standing out at times.
Yeah.
I would say the directing was, solid.
Yeah, I agree.
What else did I have? Okay, so Colleen Hoover adaptation films. You brought your collection.
Yes. So, in 2020, when Book Talk got a very, very big resurgence, Colleen Hoover was big topic in that conversation. Obviously, ACOTAR, Sarah J. Maas was the main conversation, and I hope to find an excuse to talk about that entire series and Throne of Glass, Crescent City, all of that one day, because that is a great universe and a lot to talk about there. But we have Colleen Hoover, which is a different conversation. Akatar is very, very, very fantasy. This is a lot different. They have more. I would say this is more up the fictional / romance alley, and there's Verity, which is definitely more thriller. It's definitely her odd one out, at least of the ones I've read. Well, let's talk about it. So she has a bit of controversy. I don't know much about it, but I know there was like accusations, like sexual assault allegations with her son.
Yes.
I don't know much about it, just that it wasn't handled very well on her part, if at all, which is disappointing. And just her books in general, I think, are pretty controversial. It Ends With Us. People, I think, have very valid arguments of how that is handled, despite that story being very personal to her, with her parents. She talks about that in the acknowledgments. It's one of the only acknowledgments I've actually ever read in a book, sorry. But people say to read it because it's very well done. I agree. It's hard to criticize that when it's so personal to her. Because it's like, it's her story, it's her truth. But it ends with us. That's where the conversation starts in the Colleen Hoover movie world, movie adaptation world. And it has a sequel. It starts with us.
That's never gonna happen.
No, and I don't
Never should
think
it.
should. No.
So I will.
And then, that started a totally other controversy with the actors.
Insane. I think going into this movie, and Colleen Hoover, as like her controversies were very much around that film at the time, before this first one had even released.
Yeah.
Watching that project just as that sole art piece, I enjoy it.
I enjoy it too.
I think it's very well made. And I think in this film, I've seen some argument about like having the abuser be so charming. I think it's super important that he is.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah,
like,
I think the movie does a really great job of emphasizing how people get into these dynamics and these horrible situations, and about how easy it is to excuse that, and showing how it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Blake Lively, even before the huge controversy broke out, I know people were saying that they didn't like her at all in this movie. I think she does a fine job. I think so. Especially in like the rooftop scene, which I think is a big, and I think really well made scene. That she heavily collaborated on.
I think there's a lot well done in that film and in this book. And
I'm also always gonna love my girl Jenny Slate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people dislike how in the books and the movie, how it almost seems like how often she keeps him around and forgives him and is kind to him despite him being abusive. I think that's hard because it's one of those things, like, I feel like that's the point, is nobody gets to decide, like, how you handle the aftermath of that. Like, it's your trauma. You get to decide if you forgive them, if you keep them in your life. It's complicated because she has his, like, also his child. And I'm like, you don't have to, if you were in the same situation, you don't have to handle it the way she handled it. But I think she's also allowed to handle it the way she handled it. So she's very clear, especially in It Starts With Us. One of the only, I would say, good parts of this book, is she's very clear, like, this stops now. Like, there's no, like, relapse. If you, like, ever do anything remotely scary again, you're not going to be in our life. Like, she's very clear with her boundaries and has the power in the second book to enforce those boundaries, which I appreciate. So I think there's more nuance than maybe people give credit to. Yeah. It's okay. Is it like the best movie ever or book ever? Absolutely not. But I think it's overall, it's okay. Yeah. Anyways.
And then I'm not gonna dive into any more of that, but I will say anyone who hires Johnny Depp's lawyers, oh my god, that's like the biggest indicator that you've done something horrible.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Messy situation, messy people that are probably both not very likable people.
But also important, just because you're unlikable doesn't mean you can't have horrible things done to you.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Next book.
Then we have Regretting You.
How was that book for you?
It was okay. I read this after the movie. This is the only one I've read after the adaptation. I read like the first few chapters before we saw the movie. I thought it was okay. I thought this was probably one of the better ones. Gosh, we're about to get into some of those. I'm not going to get into them a lot, but let's just say there's some wild books she has written with some wild takes. I feel like this one's actually rather tame, and I thought the movie was okay as well.
I mean, it's certainly not anything bold or super out there.
No.
It's just kind of an opportunity for actors to be in something super straightforward and a little romantic.
Yeah, and I like the main four people.
Oh,
so.
I adore that cast.
Absolutely. Don't remember this book at all.
What is it?
I remember, I think she's like hard of hearing and she really likes music or falls in love with someone who likes music. That's like it. There's sequels to this, I think. Let me look it up. This one's called Maybe Someday. Sorry for those who are just listening and not watching. Maybe Someday. There's like, oh, maybe not, maybe now. I don't care to ever read those.
That's a crazy a crazy run of titles.
I don't remember anything in this book that stood out to me in a good or bad way. So, there you go. Speaking of sticking out in bad ways. Ooh, how do I talk about this on the podcast? If you've read this, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about right now. The guy throughout the entire book is very toxic. I never like him.
Is this the one where they talk about the hypothetical kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they have their kid. They're looking at their kid talking about certain parts of the kid and how the mom hopes it's gonna be like the dad's. And that's really gross. I will not be explaining that any further. You can look that up if you care. Woo! Anyways, also, one of her more horrible books, November 9th. Spoilers for this book, I guess. If you care to read it, don't. Anyways, the girl has like scars all over herself because she
told me
got
about this one.
Yes, because she was in a house fire. It's revealed later on that the guy she's falling in love with is the one who started that fire because he hated her dad, I think. And then I think knew that she was in the house but still didn't do anything to stop it. I think it was too late to stop the fire, but like, you could have called the police, you could have like gone inside to try to get her. He could have done things. I'm pretty sure he knew that she was in there. Either way, to have this book end in any way other than him in jail for that is crazy behavior. And they still are a couple at the end of this book. She forgives him actually kind of easily. Okay. Here's reminders of him, what we're talking about. What a pretty book cover.
That's nice.
Yeah. This is one of my more enjoyable reads. This is when I used to tab my books, and the blue ones are for sad scenes, so you see how many sad scenes there are. Particularly sad scenes. These are like ones that stick out enough for me to tab them. Yeah, I remember liking this. So, anyways. Okay. But I also will say I remember liking a lot of books back then, a lot more than I probably would now. The summer I turned pretty. Mm-hmm. So take all that with a grain of salt. Here's Verity. Speaking of Verity, this is the thriller book, and this is the only other one I'm aware of that is confirmed to get an adaptation, and it's coming soon. It's coming this year, I believe. with Anne Hathaway, Dakota Johnson, and that guy from Trap.
Hold on.
Getting his name.
Josh Hartnett.
Yes. So if you haven't liked any of her other stuff, I would still stick around to maybe watch this one.
Oh my gosh, I just saw another actor from The Bluff. It's crazy.
Because it's completely different. It's a thriller. I remember liking this, but I couldn't tell you what the story was about. I don't remember. I just remember liking it. But it was also one of my first thrillers out of many, so I kind of want to reread it since I already own it and wouldn't have to like buy it and financially support it.
Oh.
I think I might reread it before the movie.
Looking at the director for that one, Michael Showalter, some of the stuff that he's directed includes The Idea of You, which I haven't seen, but I heard it wasn't a like a lot of people.
Women tended to like that movie more than anyone else, which I think it was the target audience.
Sure.
I thought it was okay.
He also did Oh, What Fun.
Oh, that also had Anne Hathaway, though, The Idea of You, so that's interesting. Oh, what fun. Okay, well, I liked that more than most people, so yay for me.
And then it looks like he's done a lot of other rom-com-y stuff.
Okay, well,
He's gonna be directing Ma 2! Crazy.
Well, there you have it, people. The Colleen Hoover verse, and I will not be adding to this collection, so don't expect me to.
So, ranking the 3 films.
Pretty easy ranking. I think we're gonna have the same one.
Yeah.
Probably.
Is yours top to bottom? It ends with us regretting you. Reminders of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have like half a video out, like a dual video with talking about regretting you, I believe. So if you're interested, check that out.
See more of our thoughts on it.
Sure. Anyways.
No. Oh my god, you know what we didn't talk about? How this film shares that movie's problem of flashbacks.
Yes! With not casting younger people for the clear younger flashback scenes.
Oh, and...
What are you doing?
And speaking of the flashbacks, the horrible haircut that did not look good
right,
on
when
him.
He was a football player and he had the...
Oh
no.
my gosh, they did him so dirty.
Oh no.
Oh, that did not,
so
did
bad.
not fit him at all.
No. You know, I will say the flashbacks in this one were not as bad for me because...
Most of them were like just like the 5 years before.
Yes, and they were very quick. And I do think, especially because they were high in one of the scenes, like they had like that more youthful like energy or whatever vibe. Regretting you? I'm sorry, I had to think about it. They're too similar.
That
Anyways.
one's pretty inexcusable.
And then to play footsie in the pool when you're adults trying to be kids, I can't. That was such an ick. So it wasn't as bad as that, I will say. But God, stop doing that. You have a great child actor in this film. Like, believe in them. Believe in more of them. And you only had to cast 2. So that's crazy.
So, on Hoppers and Reminders of You, the reception.
Reminders of him.
Reminders of him.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think the cinema scores were?
Oh, wasn't Hoppers like an A?
It is an A.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't have no idea on Reminders of him. Probably bad. You're looking at me crazy right now. Like C? C+?
It is a B.
Oh, wow. Okay, to be fair, cinema score, like, if you have anything lower than a B-, you're like, that's a horrible score. To be fair. So maybe I should have believed in it a little bit more, but it had like a 50% Rotten Tomato score, so I was like...
Do you know the Hoppers Rotten Tomato scores?
Oh, last I saw it was at like a 90 or 86 or something around 85 to 95 range. Last I saw.
So the critic score is at 93. The audience score is at 94.
Period. Regretting You was at like 54 last time I saw, I think.
I actually don't know.
Audience score, what would that be?
So, okay, I see the critic score. I'm going to guess the audience score for Reminders of Him. I'm going to guess like 71.
Is it not there yet?
No, I just haven't opened it yet.
Oh, okay. 71. Actually, there were lots of people, like, pretty emotional in our theater. So, actually, I might say, like, 80. I don't know. I actually feel like people liked that
So,
film.
critic score is 56.
Okay.
The audience score is a 90%. Whoa.
Wow, it really found its audience then.
Dang.
Okay, then.
Makes me feel a little better for this cast.
Yeah.
That's bonkers. Okay, well.
Well.
Then the final question is, how far do we think it's going to make at the box office, respectively?
I don't know. What is it at right now?
Let me open it up. So, starting on... Why are you not opening? Hello?
I can open one. Do you want me to open Reminders of Him? Ooh. No, Hoppers... Oh, well, Hoppers was still the leading grossing movie of this weekend.
Yes,
even
it was.
in its second weekend, which is good for that movie.
So
I saw it had recently crossed the century mark, which was fun.
I think they haven't updated... No, I might just be looking at the domestic numbers. It looks like they changed the numbers website, so I can't easily go to their screen.
Oh, yeah, I can't either. My links are not working either. Well,
Interesting.
that's okay,
Well,
people.
in that case,
We'll
just
guess.
going off of... I do have the list of other Pixar movies, if you'd like to maybe gauge off of some of those.
Sure, maybe just the ones around the similar.
Let me find my Pixar list.
Whatever you think.
So...
And Disney does tend to keep their movies in longer than other movie studios do, so that's also good for it. I will say, not so good for it that Super Mario Bros. Is coming out. But it has a good lead.
Indeed.
They're about a month apart, so...
So...
That helps.
Elio made 154 million. Inside Out 2 made 1.6 billion.
Yeah.
Kind of unfair comparison.
It was the highest grossing before Neja 2.
Elemental did 484. Lightyear did 218. Can't really compare Turning Red, Luca, or Soul. Or honestly, probably Onward either, but that made 133.
No.
So.
Okay, then.
That's what we're dealing with, and it has crossed the century mark already.
Yes. And that's in its second weekend, pretty much. Not totally updated numbers, but... I feel like it has at least 2 more weekends of a lead before it maybe starts going down again. I want to say around, maybe, the 350 mark.
I put 360. That's what I'm logging.
I'll log 350 then.
Interesting. Okay. And then, Reminders of Him, we can't pull up the other...
It ends with us did, 300-something million. I think it did really well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
And
remember what
currently,
did.
Reminders of Him domestically is at 18 million.
Yeah. But it is in its first weekend. There's not really a rom-com type thing that's gonna compete with it anytime soon that I can think of. So if they keep it in theaters, maybe. Gosh, I don't know. I want to say maybe 75 million. You think that's too low? I might think that's too low.
I think maybe I'm
But
thinking
it did
maybe
get bad
closer
reception, so I don't know.
I'm gonna say 90 mil.
Okay.
I don't think you're too far off. I'm trying to think, and then there's not a real romance that's gonna fill that space anytime soon.
I just don't know how long they're gonna keep it in theaters. That's my thing.
That's fair.
So, because it wouldn't have something to directly compete with it, but there's Project Hail Mary, there's Ready or Not 2, there's Super Mario Bros.
There's plenty of other things coming.
Big movies to take up some spots, so, yeah.
Well, we have those locked in.
Mm-hmm.
So we will have to see how those go over time.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to finish up our conversation on Reminders of Hoppers. Crazy two-sided conversations.
Yeah.
So please let us know if you've enjoyed our conversation. What are your thoughts on Hoppers and Reminders of Him? We would love to see that in the comments below. And until next time, I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And thank you so much for watching Not So Straight Nerds.
Bye.